What if the real reason for feeling lost isn't a lack of direction, but a lack of connection? Days blur together. Responsibilities are met, conversations happen, tasks are completed. Yet beneath it all lingers a quiet sense of drifting, as if life is moving, but something essential is missing. The world hums constantly with noise, notifications, expectations, pressure, comparison. Stress becomes background music. Anxiety feels almost normal. Words like mindfulness, meditation, karma, or rebirth float through conversations and social media feeds. They sound profound yet distant, abstract, maybe even strange. A few minutes of meditation promise relief, but instead, the mind seems louder than ever, crowded with thoughts that refuse to settle. This quiet search for something deeper, for lasting peace rather than temporary escape, is more common than it appears. Beneath the surface, many are longing not just for calm, but for meaning. So, where do we start? Often we jump straight into practices like meditation without understanding the why behind them. It's like trying to build a house without a blueprint. You might put some walls up, but it's not going to be stable, and it probably won't be the house you dreamed of. This is where learning Buddhist philosophy from the very basics comes in. It's the blueprint for your mind. Now, when you hear the word philosophy, you might picture old books, complicated arguments, and abstract ideas that have nothing to do with your daily life. But Buddhist philosophy is different. It's not about academic debate. It's a practical guide to understanding the nature of your own mind and the world around you. It's the essential foundation that gives meaning and power to all the other practices. Think of it as learning the rules of a game before you start playing. You could try to play without knowing the rules, but you'll be confused, you'll make mistakes, and you won't enjoy it nearly as much. Once you understand the rules, the game comes alive, and you can play with skill and joy. So, what are these fundamental rules or teachings? At the very heart of Buddhist philosophy are concepts like the Four Noble Truths. This isn't a pessimistic declaration that life is just suffering. It's a realistic diagnosis from a very wise doctor. The first truth acknowledges that we all experience dissatisfaction or dukkha. This isn't just about big tragedies, it's the subtle, constant feeling that things aren't quite right. The second noble truth is the diagnosis. It identifies the cause of this dissatisfaction, which is craving and attachment. We're constantly chasing after things we think will make us happy and running away from things we think will make us unhappy. The third truth offers the prognosis. There is an end to this dissatisfaction. There is a state of lasting peace and freedom known as nirvana. And finally, the fourth noble truth gives us the prescription, the path to get there, known as the Noble Eightfold Path. Without understanding this basic framework, meditation can feel pointless. You might sit on a cushion and try to empty your mind, but why? What's the goal? When you understand the Four Noble Truths, you realize that meditation is a tool to observe your own cravings and attachments in real time. It's a laboratory where you can see the second noble truth in action. You see how a thought arises, how you cling to it, how that clinging causes tension, and how letting it go brings a sense of release. Your meditation practice transforms from a chore into a fascinating journey of self-discovery. Another core concept is anatta, or no self. This can be a really tricky one. We have a strong, ingrained feeling that there's a permanent, unchanging me inside, pulling the levers. Buddhist philosophy invites us to investigate this feeling. Is there really a CEO in your head? Or is what we call self actually a constantly changing process of thoughts, feelings, sensations, and perceptions? This isn't about denying your existence. It's about seeing yourself in a more fluid, interconnected way. Understanding this can be incredibly liberating. If there's no fixed, solid self to defend, we become less sensitive to criticism. We become less attached to our identity and our opinions. It frees us from the heavy burden of protecting a fragile ego. This understanding makes practices like compassion so much easier. If we are all interconnected processes rather than separate, solid entities, then your happiness is my happiness, and your suffering is my suffering. Then there's anicca, the truth of impermanence. Everything changes, nothing is permanent. We know this intellectually, of course. We see seasons change, we watch ourselves get older. But we don't live like we know it. We cling to happy moments, desperate for them to last forever, which only leads to disappointment when they inevitably end. We resist difficult situations, believing they will never pass, which only adds to our suffering. When you truly absorb the teaching of impermanence, you start to relate to life differently. You can savor the good moments more fully, knowing they are precious and fleeting. And you can face the difficult times with more resilience, knowing they too will pass. It helps you let go. It's the ultimate antidote to our habit of clinging. So, how do these philosophical concepts directly impact your life? Let's take a common example. Anger. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your heart races, your face gets hot, and you're filled with rage. The usual response is to either lash out or suppress it, letting it fester inside. But with a foundation in Buddhist philosophy, you have a new set of tools. You can apply the Four Noble Truths. You recognize the feeling of anger as dukkha, a form of suffering. You investigate its cause, your attachment to the idea that people should drive properly and respect you. You see the craving for the situation to be different than it is. You remember the possibility of freedom from this anger, and you apply the path. You might practice right mindfulness by simply observing the anger as a raw sensation in your body without judging it or acting on it. You can reflect on no self and ask, who is this I that is so offended? You'll see it's just a collection of thoughts and feelings. You can reflect on impermanence, knowing this flash of anger is a temporary storm that will pass. Suddenly you have a choice. You're no longer a slave to your reactive emotions. This is what it means to be free. This is the practical, life-changing power of learning the basics. It's not about becoming an unfeeling robot. It's about becoming wiser, more compassionate, and more in control of your own well-being. Starting with the philosophy also protects you from what's called spiritual bypassing. This is when we use spiritual ideas or practices to avoid dealing with our messy human emotions and psychological issues. For example, someone might say, "Oh, it's all just an illusion anyway," to avoid confronting a painful relationship problem. A solid philosophical grounding helps you stay honest. It teaches that the path isn't about floating above your problems, but about going right through them with wisdom and courage. It encourages you to face your suffering, understand its roots, and genuinely transform it. If you're struggling deeply, these teachings also emphasize that seeking professional help from a therapist or counselor is a wise and compassionate action. The path is about using all available tools for healing. So, if you're curious about Buddhism, or if you're looking for a way to bring more peace and clarity into your life, I truly encourage you to start with the why. Start with the philosophy. Don't just jump into the techniques. Build the foundation first. Read a book on the basics of Buddhist thought. Listen to talks from qualified teachers who can explain these core principles clearly. Find a community or a course that focuses on the fundamentals. When you do, you'll find that your entire approach to life begins to shift. You'll understand the purpose of your meditation practice. You'll have a map to navigate the ups and downs of your mind. You'll develop a resilience that doesn't depend on external circumstances. You'll be building your house on a solid rock of wisdom, not on the shifting sands of hope and fear. It's a journey, not a destination, but starting with the blueprint, the philosophy, is the most crucial first step you can take. It's the beginning of a path towards authentic and lasting freedom. Thanks for watching today. I hope this gives you a new perspective on where to begin your journey. If you found this helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content on a practical path to a happier life. See you in the next one.